I was in Alabama many, many years ago. I actually met someone online and started to date them. They lived in Baltimore, and so I would drive up to make it to First Friday.
I ran into someone on the street and they happened to have a flyer. They said, oh, we're having this party. There's this party for women. I don't know how they knew to give me the flyer because at this point I was in the closet.
I had basically hit this party because everybody kept talking about it. You got to come to this party thrown by women in the life. And I was like, yeah. You know, I've worked in clubs before. I've seen a party before. I mean, how spectacular could it be?
And so I took my walk down this alley, and the alley seemed like it went on forever. And I saw all these beautiful black women, black lesbian women that were walking down. They were engaged in different conversations. They had on the most beautiful, interesting attire.
Sure enough, we come walking up to this party about 11 o'clock, and all I see is like this sea of gorgeous, beautiful black women. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me, right?
I heard about the Women in Life parties, so I started going to those, and those were totally different. There was a lot of sisters there. They were good-looking women, but these women were women that I could identify with, and so they were fun.
I walked in and there were women dancing. There were women, embracing one another. There was women shooting pool. There were women taking pictures.
I was in awe that there were, this many black lesbians in one place, and that they could party and socialize with one another. They weren't hiding. Like in Alabama, there was a community, but it was never said lesbian, and you never ever really congregated out publicly.
Women in Life is a brand now, but it began as an events management company. I came out of the closet late in life. I think I consider it late, around 26 years old. And once I decided I was a lesbian, I was looking to bond and network with other lesbians. There was no marriage equality, no social media, and homophobia was sort of the norm. So a lot of people were closeted, and so when I came out, the only way that you could really go and find other people who were out, or even people who were closeted, was if you go to a bar or club. So I went to 2 or 3 bars or clubs over the course of coming out to meet people, and I realized that it was limited as far as music, as far as the women that I met. So the first event I threw was at my house, and I didn't have a name for it. It was just a party of black lesbians. Ultimately, we had a party when there was a march on Washington. And I went and talked to a venue called Blagden Alley Warehouse at 9th and N, and rented it, and we threw the party of the century.
I knew we had made it, was Blagden Alley, a March on Washington party.
That party put us on the map. We were not even prepared to be on the map. Every year around DC Black Pride, people came from around the country, at least to DC, to come and party. So every year around Black Pride, we would have these huge parties. And in between, usually around holidays, we would have a local party.
And right around the time that I moved here, there was an absence of a national voice for LGBTQ people of color.
What made it so successful is because people were craving for some place to go that looked like them, that they could go and be amongst people that were like them, had the same kind of thoughts, where they could be safe and they could love each other.
So I would go to the parties, look and ask for Sheila, find her most times at the end of the night, and I would do this religiously wherever she was. And I would say, hi, my name is Khadija. I'm new to the city. I really want to do something. I think parties are great, but, we should really get lesbians involved in the political activism.
So I really got involved with Women in the Life as a result of getting involved with Sheila Reed.
And at that time, Sheila didn't have anybody working in her office, and I was kind of struggling, trying to make ends meet. And she was like, come work in my office, part-time. I was like, sure, why not?
I just happened to come in on this particular day, and Sheila says to me, so what are you doing with yourself? I said, I'm just hanging out. I just got laid off, so I'm not certain what I'm going to be doing next. And Sheila says, why don't you come work in the office? You could be the president of operations.
They were phenomenal. They worked their asses off sometimes for no money whatsoever. And when it was for money, it was for little money.
I took money at the door. So anyone looking at this, you remember this face. I wasn't playing around with you guys. We had fun.
You could come to the party and you could have a good time, but you were also concerned about the patrons having a good time and making sure they were okay and that it was a safe environment.
I was that person that was standing at the door when you came in, and if you didn't have your ID, you hated me. Apparently, I was pretty strict and pretty mean to people. At least that's what people, tell me as I'm walking down the street.
And I saw there was a need to get information about us to us. And so I got some more friends, one who was a talented writer, and another who was a sports enthusiast, and said, let's put together a magazine. I can write some stories, I can edit, and one of them was a writer, said, you can have a column, the sports enthusiast. I said, you can be the sports writer. And we just sort of cobbled this magazine out of just our own passion for getting information out. But what we discovered was the magazine took on a life of its own, and then we had to start distributing it at bookstores, at clubs, bars, and that was the beginning of Women Life magazine. And the reason I like it is because it says a lot without saying a lot. It doesn't say these are, black lesbians. They're women who are in the life. And if you don't know what in the life means, that's okay, because the ones that are in the life will know what it means.
I also opened up our poetry readings, so we always had an open mic, and it was really quite amazing. I think during that time in Washington, D.C., we just had sort of a culture of black women artists that were lesbians that were just here in the Washington, D.C. area. And the poetry open mic was really one of those places where people could come and bring their art and bring their voices and talk about in an artistic way about what it meant to love black women.
I wrote a little bit of poetry in Women in the Life, but I also did some articles, book reviews, that kind of thing.
Things like the Wanda's Wills Project or No More Drama, the domestic violence, and the work we did to raise awareness around breast cancer in the lesbian community were all important because of who we were engaging at the time.
I came in every morning and I opened up the office of Women in the Life, and I answered every phone call that came in. Working at Women in the Life was wonderful. It was actually one of the best jobs I ever had. And I say that because I was able to be out. I was able to be myself. I had an immediate family. I was exiled, from my family immediately when I came out. I honestly didn't think that would happen. I thought that they would be upset. I thought that they would be disappointed, but I thought that my family's love was unconditional. So when I came in to Women in Life, I was broken, and I didn't know how broken I was until I came in and I saw these women that were so welcoming and that was very quick to love me.
What was so different about Women Life Parties and event was that people could come and be safe, have a good time for the 4, 5, 6 hours they were there. I'm sure a lot of people forgot about all their problems. Being the face of Women Life event, it was kind of nerve-wracking sometimes. you know, but it also made you feel proud to see the women come in there with their smiles, to see the same women over and over come in there with their smile. It made me feel proud. It made me feel proud to be a part of this night.
You know, life sometimes is not reflective of who you are. And I've come to learn that it's really important to find those spaces and to be a part of those spaces that are a reflection of you. And Women in the Life really provided one of those spaces.
Looking back, and what I remember most is that it was a safe space, a fun space, a socially conscious place, and a place that made me look at things outside of myself.
When they talk about gay history, you don't see Black lesbians as a part of that. But we're there. The Pat Barkers are there, the Audre Lordes, the Sheila Reeds, they're there. But who's there to continue to make sure that our stories are told? When I think about the Black community, where are the Black lesbians in that story? But there has not been a major movement in this country that hasn't had the blood, sweat, and tears of Black lesbians. And so when I think about this moment in time, what's different, it is that we need to fight erasure. We want to make sure that we are not erased from the history books. It was only in DC that I got to see an example of what it could be, that I could live a life, be out, be connected to a community, not be alone, and be okay. Like, Women in the Life made it okay to be myself.
So many people, when they come out, even if they don't come out, they're hiding that portion of who they are from their families. And so when you're shut off that portion of who you are from your family, you're going to be looking for support and community elsewhere. And that's really, really what Women in Life provided, was that community. And I think that it's what's needed now.
Seeing so much of the growth and progress of the community in DC in particular, I'm really excited about what the future might hold for Women in the Life, the association. One of the things that we're committed to doing right now is ensuring that the legacy and the history of this organization is cemented. When I think about the future, I think about it being very bright, because the one thing that I think, regardless of what kind of programming we do as an organization, one thing will be true: we will respond to the needs of the community. We will listen to what our community tells us they need.